There you are, you sexy bitch. Well, made a little progress today. Cut in half, spread out, pieced up, and got the passenger side patch panel almost cut out. Only about 6 million more tack welds to go on that part. Well, we're making a little progress. We got our side panels kind of roughed in, tacked in. Got a whole lot of tacks to go on those. Next thing I'm going to be doing is moving to the floor. These Jeeps factory had a hat channel. Well, looks like that underneath, but they had wood inside of it. Well, that wood attracts moisture, and that moisture makes rust. So all the structure underneath is rusted out. I've got to cut that out, get the wood out of it. I'll be going back in with some 2-inch C-channel is what we use. It's what we used on that Jeep, my brother's Jeep, my dad's Jeep, and every other Jeep after that. Works good, it's strong, easy to work with, doesn't warp. So I'll be figuring out how I'm gonna web the bottom of this to get some strength. There'll be a fuel tank that goes all the way across underneath this back seat. So I gotta make the floor strong enough to withstand that. I'll probably put 2 runs clear across underneath and then a little bit of webbing out and just to tie everything together. And then just 16 gauge steel, plate this in flat on the bottom, and then I'll have to do some new floor pans up there. The center hump I'm not gonna worry about too much because I know with that 4L80E being as big as it is, it might need to be modified even further than factory. So, and I will not need the holes through the floor for that. And the transfer case, I'll have to figure out where that lands when I get a transfer case. So the floor is gonna be kind of a piece in this part that I know is gonna stay in the front. I'll just build a whole new floor when I get to that point, but I'm a ways away from that. Also, one thing I'm gonna be doing is cutting the rear fenders out and lifting them up to probably within an inch of the top of the rail so I can highline the fenders on the outside. That way I can stuff my tires up in a little farther and not have to have the Jeep lifted as high, because that's my whole goal with this build, is to get it low and stable with as big of tires as I can fit, which those are the ones I have, so those are the ones I was going to use. There we go, just like that. That one actually came up a lot easier than the other side. So I got 2 fuel filler spouts that I can choose from to put back here on this side. Awesome. Clean that up with a grinder, make a couple templates, cut it out of the 16 gauge and weld it in when I'm welding up the doors. Okay, so that's a recap of the weekend where we ended up at. Ended up cutting all the rusty, nasty metal out down there where the pinch weld was. It was so bad I could actually bend it by hand and see daylight through it. So I cut that out. We're gonna put that brace back there. I'm gonna figure out how big my fuel tank is gonna be, and I'll set this brace at the front edge of that. There shouldn't be any pressure on the floor really under the fuel tank if it's braced at both of those spots. So we'll do that. I need to pull a few measurements on this thing corner to corner and make sure that it's square before I cut this floor pan. And then I can tack all that in there, and I'm not gonna finish weld anything out until after I get more metal and I'm going to cut out all this floorboard here, cut out all the structure. I've got more metal ordered, more C-channel, more sheet metal, everything there to build that. Got some flat bar ordered as well, some angle iron. Looking at it, that whole pinch weld along there, I knew it was pretty bad, but it's worse than I thought. So I'm actually going to be cutting all that out when I cut the floor out. And so we'll have a lot of new metal in there. Most of the metal, other than right there that is left, is actually in pretty solid shape. This back here has surface rust, but that's all it is. There's no structural rust in it. I gotta plate those back in because those just look terrible. Previous owner didn't do this thing any favors. So got that coming. I'll also be cutting these fenders out and bumping them up, like I mentioned before, for the high line. And then I gotta build some body mounts off the side of the frame, and I'll probably separate everything after that so I can weld up the frame rails to where we are now. Then we'll move on to the front, and I will cut these off. I'm pretty sure that I will be placing the front arches inside of the frame rails down here, so it'll still be an inch wider on each side than that factory frame is, but that way I got a little bit of extra room to put the engine in, and it won't look dumb out at the grill if the frame's 4 inches too wide, or 5 inches too wide, I guess. So that's where we're at.